Hi guys, welcome to Skylight Music Studios. My name's Lee, and today I want to talk about the traditional grip, as it's known. You might see it termed as jazz grip, whatever. This is basically, for me, a left-handed grip, as I'm predominantly a right-handed player, although I do make an effort to play a lot of things left-handed, hence having a ride on this side, and I play the hi-hats often with the left hand too. But when I'm playing particularly jazz, I like to have this traditional grip, and even in a rock and pop setting, if I'm playing right-handed as opposed to open-handed, like sort of normal crossed hands, so right hand on the hi-hats, left hand on the snare drum, what I'm actually doing then is I'm using the traditional grip. So in a jazz context, it's going to be open-handed because I'll be on the ride cymbal, and my left hand will be down here playing the traditional. And if I'm sort of playing a sort of even if I'm on the ride for a sort of rock and pop thing, playing a more straight sort of 4/4, I tend to go for traditional grip. I found it gives me more control, which is bizarre really, because most of the grips, we've looked at German, French. I did a little thing on a weird thing called a Tony Williams grip, which I saw on a YouTube video years and years ago. Those are predominantly like matched grip, so both hands are playing exactly the same, so whatever you practice for one, you practice for the other, and you get a very even grip. With this technique, you can take whichever version of the other grips in the right hand, but you're going to play the traditional grip or the jazz grip in the left hand. Okay, so let me just explain how this grip happens, and I'll explain why it's unnatural after that. We're going to take the hand and open the hand, okay, and then place the stick. The fulcrum's going to become between the thumb and first finger, and it's going to rest here, okay? You see that? So, I'll show you there. Can you see that? Okay, there you go. Now, what we're going to then do is take two fingers and put them above, and two fingers and put them below. And this gives you this look. Yeah, so thumb one side, two fingers above, two fingers below. Okay. Now, ideally you want to get a good balance point on the stick, which is going to be maybe 2/3 of the way down. All that goes completely against the grain when you watch someone like Stuart Copeland, that plays the whole thing from back here for power and uses predominantly one finger above the stick. It's worth noting he also plays with gloves on, because that's quite a sort of a tenuous grip you've got on the stick there, but it does give you a really powerful snap. Now, I'm tending to go a little bit further down, and say stick rests in fulcrum, two fingers above, two fingers below, and then depending on the phrase I'm playing, there will be varying degrees of grip power. Okay, so the first thing to do in order to practice this grip is to maybe see if you can master this completely open palm, thumbs on top technique, which is this. Okay. Now what this features a roll of the forearm. Okay, what I mean by that is my hand is actually doing this. Okay, as opposed to the up and down movement of the wrist. See that on there? Okay, which is the German grip, which I tend to use. Now once you've sort of mastered this, and it's harder than it looks actually, but once you've mastered this, you can then think about wrapping the fingers around the stick. Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing, but with the fingers wrapped around the stick. Now I'm aware that when I play this, finger 2 almost acts like a sort of a channel guide for the stick, and it's predominantly 1 and then 3 and 4 underneath that I'm using. Okay, so you see 2 is in the air, 1 is above the stick, on the stick, thumb is sort of clasping the stick there, that's giving me the fulcrum. Okay, and then 3 and 4 are underneath. Okay, so that gives me the control I need. And if you want to go into finger control, then you're going to be using the top finger, finger 1 predominantly, to play and do this sort of Joe Morello type things that you see, okay? There are times when the fingers open out more, yeah, so this sort of stuff happens, but you can see how the stick moves, and that's going to vary how much pressure you have on the stick and where the stick lays on the snare drum. Okay, I prefer to use this grip because I find it's gives me more control. But I don't blame you for not using this grip, because it actually came from the guys that used to play the side drum in the, you know, back in the day when in the marching bands and things. Now the snare drum was sort of slung here at that point. On, you know, they'd be standing up and walking into battle maybe, and the guys were sort of keeping time for the march. So this would be completely unnatural. So this was adopted. Now this became the sort of the marching thing because the snare drum was here. Okay. Subsequently, a lot of those marching band techniques, which is where a lot of the jazz drummers came from back in the sort of 40s and 50s, that then transferred into a snare drum that was really tilted on those old Traps kits. Look up Traps kit, you won't believe what you're seeing. But the snare drum was quite often really tilted, which gave them access to this position still. So then why on earth do we play like this now on a drum kit that's set up in this way? Well, I mean, that's just personal taste. I found I have more control playing in this way. So when I play my roughs or my sort of whatever technique I'm going to use, paradiddles, you know, all the sorts of rudiments and things I play, I find I have more control playing this way. My left hand didn't respond as well that way. Okay, I still play match grip in a German position, but I prefer to go with the traditional grip if I can sort of help it. The only time I wouldn't do that maybe is if I'm playing the hi-hat. Right, so that's a very quick look at a traditional grip, which, as I say, came from a sort of a jazz background, but you can use it anywhere. It's not comfortable for everybody, but it's comfortable for me. As I say, it involves this wrist or forearm rotation as opposed to the wrist doing this, but that's this grip, okay? So remember that one. Give it a try. It might work for you, it might not. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to know any more about that grip or any other the other grips, just get on to us and we'll get back to you with any more information, or we'll just do another video for you. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.